Hi, I'm John Kaisner, and you're watching The Natural Farmer. This is called Citrus japonica. This one has oblong instead of round fruit. This fruit on this tree is a little bit smaller than the fruit on this tree. I'm not sure why. I think it gets a little bit more sun in the morning. I purchased them from the same place. They should be basically similar trees. My first introduction to Kumquat was in the south of Portugal, in the Algarve region. And I was working as an architect, and my boss Felix has maybe still a house down there. And we were going back to his house after looking at the site of the project, and we pull in, and he goes through, the gates open, and drive up. And of course, everything's dry in the south of Portugal in the summer. But there was this beautiful, like, Garden of Eden tree, about this high, looking like this one, but a little bit bigger version of it, and green, and had all these marvelous orange fruits on it. And he rolled down the window and pulled off a couple, and he says, "Eat this." I said, "Huh?" I said, what do I started to kind of peel it. He's like, no, just pop it in your mouth. Popped it in my mouth. Just like now, I had this burst of vitamin C, sweet and sour mix, and tiny baby seeds that aren't difficult to eat at all. And you can eat the skin. It's not difficult or, distasteful at all. And I thought, wow, what's that called? He said, it's called kumquat. I said, huh, interesting. So I fell in love with the kumquat then. I've always liked kumquat since then, and not everybody knows about this tree. But it's a great addition to our food forest. And like I said, because I have trouble staying on topic, this one is an oblong, so it's Citrus margarita, they call it. And there are more rounded versions. There are many different species of kumquat. Here locally they call it mandarina cinese, which is like Chinese mandarin orange, Chinese orange, which gives you an idea of where they come from. They come from Southeast Asia, Japan, Philippines, this area of the world. They are quite hardy, self-pollinating, grows to about 2.5 to 4.5 meters, which is why I've got it at the upper area of our food forest here. This is in the context of a 71 tree food forest that we have, fruit and nut trees, on about 1.5 acres, the back part of our land here. We're located in, in case you guys have missed this or you're new here, we're located in USDA Hardiness Zone 11A on the northeast coast of Sicily, which is an island part of the country of Italy on the Mediterranean, which is where the term Mediterranean climate comes from, Mediterranean. Okay, so enough of the basics. We love this tree, very happy to have this tree. I was in love with this tree before, and then I became like more deeply in love with this, more deeply in love with this. I'm American, I don't speak English. And when my wife figured out how to make marmalade with this, jams with this, preserves, because if any of you, many of you out there have surely made marmalades, most fruits lose their kind of the identity of their taste. They lose the distinguishing characteristics of their taste when they go through the process of preservation, the preserving process, which involves some heat. Depending on how you do it, involves some heat and some sugars and different things, and it ends up transforming the taste, and they get quite generalized. I mean, strawberry is a good one that keeps its taste. That's why it's such a popular jam. But many others just become generalized, and they'll change color. Like if you do oranges, a lot of times it turns brown and gets oxidized, and it's not such a beautiful looking product. But and we did like Figlia di India, which is the prickly pear, and that just tastes like sugar. It just has no taste, the original taste. However, kumquat is an excellent marmalade product because when you do this and you add a little bit of lemon, it brings the taste out, and it really kind of tastes like kumquat. The kumquat marmalade. It's one of my favorite. That and apricot are quite lovely. But that's one of our product lines. It's one of the things that we produce here, and we plan to keep producing. So we don't produce on large scale any one thing. We kind of do this and this and this, and kind of an artisanal level. Same with olive oil and whatever. But I'm not trying to do a big publicity here, advertisement. I'm just trying to say that this is part of our planting plan, because we're always thinking about, well, how are we going to use this? What are we going to, and sometimes it's just for pure enjoyment, and sometimes you get a good product out of it, or other people come and enjoy them. So that being said, I think that might be it. I can't think of another self-pollinating, 2.5 to 4.5 meters high. Good for marmalades. One other thing, very important. Typically in this region, since there are so many citrus plants, okay, there are so many citrus plants, there's a lot of pests. There's a pest population on the island, right? And people try to eradicate these pest populations with, anything from organic pesticides to very non-organic pesticides, petroleum-based. And part of the problem is in the planting plan itself, because you create a problem to try to eliminate a problem, and it gets done through production. Monocrops create problems because they're not found out anywhere ever in nature, but we create them, and then that exposes the population of the predators that eat the crop, and then we try to we create a problem and try to solve the problem. What I've noticed with this plant, and I've noticed it also with the peaches, I'll get to that in a second. With this plant, it's not, the insects don't know what it is, I feel. Or it's just healthy enough that it resists a lot of the insect attacks. And it's, I'm not guaranteeing that for you, but that's been the case for us, that a lot of the things that tend to bother the other citrus trees don't tend to go for this, because it's just enough different that they don't know what it is. Now, if we planted a bunch of them, I'm sure that would change, or it might change in the future, or whatever. But we try to combat that with keeping the soil very rich, and we're just getting started at that, and taking care of the plant the best that we can, and setting up water harvesting system to help keep it happy. But I'm here to tell you that it's not a bad strategy, is to have a plant like this that's producing another form of citrus, because the pests don't recognize it as easily. The other thing I want to say is you can plant this tree close to your home, pretty close to your home. I've seen a 3-meter, her uncle has about a 3-meter tall tree, which is right, it's between the sidewalk and the driveway under this balcony of their house. So it's in a very compact space, and it's not destroying their foundation or anything. It's not this, the roots are not really aggressive and going after the foundation like many fruit trees or other trees might do. So it's a nice one, nice ornamental. Evergreen, we're in January, it stays green all the time. I think that's it. I can't really, off the top of my head, think of anything else that I would want to say about this little marvelous tree. But we're happy with them, and wanted to pass that on. And like I said, I'm making a video for every tree in this food forest, and we got the kumquat, and so here's the video. So hopefully that's helpful. That's it for a kumquat, short and sweet. Hopefully it's worth your time. Thanks for tuning in. My name's John Kaisner. It's another episode of The Natural Farmer, and glad you're here. Hope to see you again real soon.